This is a story about how I scored free land to live on in New Zealand. It was like the whole of Toa Payoh combined. At the end of 2024, I decided to pack my bags and leave Singapore for New Zealand because I felt disenchanted with my work in education. My plan was to live in New Zealand for at least 6 months to explore permaculture. I ended up living there for 1.5 years. During this time, I traveled a lot, and by then I had become so good at sussing out good Airbnbs that when I saw James and Sarah's listing, I knew I had to book a few nights with them. The first unusual thing I did was to offer to do some gardening for them. They have never had any request of this sort from any guest, and they were intrigued by why I would offer to do gardening. When they found out that I was interested in permaculture, they showed me around the farm, and I went back there to do reading and some other gardening tasks around their property. Every time I went there, they would show me more of their life, and they would always make sure I left with some of the produce from their land, which included bacon, wild caught fish, eggs, kumaras, which are sweet potatoes, pork chop from pigs they have raised themselves and which they have slaughtered themselves, and many more. They even showed me their shed, which is like a huge warehouse filled with all kinds of farmer toys, RVs, what looks to me like hundreds of fishing rods, hunting gear, containers for curing and smoking meats, stations to cut up your carcasses and your animals. They really live a life of self-sufficiency, and it intrigued me. Over time, we became good friends, and they also introduced me to a lady who owns a huge piece of land, and when I went to her property, it was like the whole of Toa Payoh combined. I am not exaggerating. This lady, who is in her 80s, is sprightly and full of energy, and she has this vision of building a community and bringing people together so that they can have food resilience for themselves, to grow their own food, to not depend on big corporations who might just decide to spray a bunch of chemicals on your food and then sell it to you. And she said to me that I can put a tiny house on her property and live there for free. It was going to be the perfect plan because we have a couple who knows everything about farming, who is willing to put in the time and effort to teach city folks like me how to farm. They went on to buy cows at auctions to put on the land. They also put chickens on the land, and they've already started collecting eggs. So the whole vision is coming together. Essentially, as a city person, I could have a farm life without buying land and have access to people who can teach me how to farm. It's one of the adventures that I went on without knowing what the outcome would be. I just took the tiny step of booking an Airbnb and then offering my service of weeding the garden and eventually making friends in an entire community. This is what can happen when you take a tiny step in the direction that feels right in that moment. Eventually, I did not take up the offer, but I'm still in contact with the community, and I have so much admiration and respect for them. So if you feel a nudging in your heart today, take that step because it could end up being magic.